The White Lotus Season 2 Episode 2 Ending Explained. The second episode of the show has been released, and it's safe to say that it didn't bring us any closer to finding out who was floating in the sea at the start of episode 1. However, we did see some relationships start to crack, some amendments starting to get made, and in the closing moments Gregg revealed himself to be going behind his millionaire wife's back. So with that, I thought I'd recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is the White Lotus Season 2 Episode 2 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Episode 2 of the show essentially picked up directly after the events that we saw occurring in Episode 1. It was day 2 of the trip, which meant that we were 6 days out from the body being discovered. Whilst it seemed as though Daphne found the body and her husband Cameron was there to hold her, it rules them two out immediately, which does leave a lot of other characters who it could potentially be, and also many others for the suspect. With there being a focus on men betraying their wives and their fate being sealed due to their actions, and women being perceived as dangerous, as was depicted on the program that Nonny was watching, it does lead me to question if it could be one of the female characters that has killed one of the men. But we'll have to see. At the minute, it does seem as though Gregg isn't going home for business, and is going home for pleasure, with him uttering the line, "She's clueless as per usual, I love you," meaning that he's most likely having an affair, something that we're seeing is at the core of a lot of the characters in the show. This episode then closed off in true cliffhanger style. I'm going to break this video down by the main character arcs that are in the show. Harper and Ethan. Harper and Ethan are my favourite characters to watch on screen at the moment. Their relationship is extremely interesting, and we saw developments get made this episode. We saw that Harper is extremely judgmental of others despite not believing she is, and she believes that she has the perfect marriage, when in reality it doesn't seem that way at all. Ethan doesn't really want to be intimate with her and would rather be one with himself, as we saw in the episode. The dynamic between themselves and Cameron and Daphne is extremely interesting because on the surface level, we as the audience are made to share the same opinion as what Harper and Ethan do. But once you get to know them and see their genuine love and care that they have for each other, you can't help but think that Harper and Ethan are wrong. Harper is cottoning onto the fact that Ethan doesn't want to be with her intimately, and the close-up shot of her face in the final scene spoke of the upset that she was feeling after wanting to be intimate with him. I think we'll start to see the decline of their relationship on this trip, and the perfect relationship that they believe that they have will start to crumble. Cameron and Daphne. Cameron and Daphne are the stereotypical materialistic individuals that you believe you see when somebody acquires money. Their relationship of no arguments and pure happiness is something that's hard to believe, because in reality, it just seems impossible to see how that could be the case. Cameron has seemed to have taken an interest in Harper, in the sense that in episode 1 he walked to her hotel room, and in this episode he swam out in the sea and surprised her, grabbing her leg, which in the moment is playful, but could it mean something more sinister and be referring to something that's later going to arrive in the season? However, despite being playful with her and wanting to get to know her and have her like him, he was openly speaking badly of her. So it does make me wonder what his intentions are with bringing the both of them on this trip. But I do think something will occur between Cameron and Harper as his intrigue grows stronger and Harper gradually starts to feel more and more rejected by Ethan. Albie and Portia. This story out of all of them feels the purest and most genuine, as at the moment it's just about two individuals who want a slight escape from their life. Portia from the suffocating environment of being an assistant to Tanya, and Albie from the adultering, family-destroying behaviours of his father. I think it's quite obvious that these two will look to form a connection on this trip. However, with Tanya now going to be on her own since Gregg announced that he would be going to Denver for a couple of days, it seems as though Portia will be pulled more into that part of her life that she tries to avoid. Dominic and Lucia. In this episode, it was revealed to us that Dominic cheated on his wife several times throughout their marriage, which made sense as to why we heard the harrowing phone call with his wife in episode 1. He'd been speaking with Lucia prior to his arrival and had now listed their names on the hotel rooms under his family's name, so they're able to spend as they please, which is something that it seems as though was a bad mistake due to Lucia and Mia's behaviour, and I think it will most likely come back to get him. By the end of the episode, it looked as though Dominic's conversation with his father over dinner had stuck with him and he wanted to repair the relationship that he had with his wife. However, the nature of his addictive behaviour that he stated meant that he spent the night with Lucia and Mia. showing that deep down he's not ready to change, and the possibility may mean that he never will. With Nonny watching TV and it saying, "In Sicily, women are more dangerous than weapons," it could be foreshadowing a dark end for Dominic. Tanya and Gregg. Tanya and Gregg's marriage is something that seems extremely strange. Their first inclusion in this episode started with Gregg sitting up on the bed, and what I thought was interesting was that he was rubbing his wedding ring on his finger. It's a subtle detail, but it showed that the questioning of his marriage was something that had clearly been keeping him up. Gregg definitely seemed unhappy in his marriage, and judging by the ending of him wanting to go back to Denver for work, but actually lying and it seeming as though he's meeting somebody who he loves, as we heard on the phone call, he's been having an affair. Earlier on in the episode, we heard a song being played by Mia on the piano, which contained the lyrics, "The best things in life are free," which I think is most certainly alluding to true love, and it's most representative of Tanya and Gregg. Tanya has $500 million, and that's not enough to make her happy or her husband Gregg happy. So with him gone, I think we could see a slightly different side to Tanya. I thought episode 2 was quite a good one. It revealed a lot more to us about the characters, the world and environment that has been set up for us to spend some time in, and whilst no major developments were made, the natural pacing of the episode allowed establishing everybody, their motives and behaviours to be more present. There are a lot of cast members and arcs in this story, and they're starting to get intertwined, which is something that I think we will see become more apparent as the episodes go on. We started the season seeing them all together, and I think it will be something that goes full circle. Relationships, intimate activities, and lying and deceitfulness are at the heart of the show, and we're seeing characters mirror the behaviours of past actions of others, or actions in the present day, with it tying back to the head that we saw all around the hotel in episode 1. Danger and death is definitely lurking. The use of the volcano erupting in the background is also symbolic of the devastation that's to come, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to occur in episode 3 of the show. The White Lotus is definitely a slow burner, and it does a good job at luring you in and feeling like you're quite literally a fly on the wall in this hotel, which I think is the best way for it to feel as an audience member. So, there you have it, The White Lotus Season 2 Episode 2 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, Theories and Predictions, and Character Breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.